Listen closely. A quiet warning is rising in your life, and most people ignore it until it's too late. There is a moment when the world outside goes silent, and the voice within becomes unmistakably clear. Some describe it as intuition. Some call it destiny. But in the language of spirit, it feels like this 10 seconds left, not a countdown of fear, but a final call to awaken. I am Shihengyi, and today I will guide you through this message with calm clarity and a warrior's honesty. When life gives such a signal, it is never random. In our Shaolin tradition, urgency is a teacher. It forces the mind to stop wandering and return to the present breath. It sharpens intention. It exposes the truth you've been avoiding, and it invites you to step into a higher form of responsibility. Throughout this video, I will show you why these 10 seconds are not about time running out, but about a doorway sliding open. You will learn how ancient Shaolin principles help you sense these inner warnings long before others can. You will understand why the mind grows louder right before a major shift in your path. And you will discover the lesser-known signs that a spiritual turning point is unfolding beneath the surface of your daily life. Stay with me until the end, because the deeper we go, the clearer the message becomes. By the last moment of this teaching, you will not only hear the final call, you will know exactly how to answer it with strength, discipline, and presence. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If you find value in this teaching, I invite you to subscribe and continue this journey of inner mastery with us. There is a moment when the world around you blurs and only the space within you remains sharp and alive. When that moment arrives, the Shaolin path turns your attention toward a single ancient principle, Yi, the power of inner focus, the mind directing the body. I am Shihengyi, and I have seen how easily a person can lose themselves when urgency strikes. When pressure rises, most people look outward, searching for answers, signs, or someone to save them. But the deeper teaching is different. When time feels short, the true warrior steps inward, not outward. In the mountain temple where I trained, my master once asked me to hold a posture so simple it appeared effortless, yet my legs trembled. My breath shook. My thoughts scattered like leaves in a storm. He did not correct my stance. He corrected my mind. Your body fails only when your intention disappears, he said. Strength begins here. And he touched his chest, not the muscles, but the center of awareness beneath them. This is Yi, the mind as the commander, the body as the loyal soldier. When life gives you the feeling of 10 seconds left, it is not a call to panic. It is a command to return to the inner chamber of your awareness. In Shaolin training, the final moments before a strike, before a decision, before a leap, those moments belong entirely to the mind, not to fear, not to noise, not to the world demanding your reaction. Your attention becomes the doorway. Focus determines the next step, and intention shapes the outcome long before movement begins. This is why, even when time is short, the inner landscape must be the first place you look, for whatever you master within yourself becomes the force that guides every action that follows. There is a quiet power in the human body, but it remains incomplete until the mind learns to move with it. In the Shaolin tradition, mastery never begins with muscle or speed. It begins with the invisible thread that ties thought, breath, and movement into a single unbroken flow. When the feeling of 10 seconds left arises, the final push, the decisive moment, the turning point, the body cannot move on instinct alone. Instinct without clarity leads to chaos. But when the mind is steady, even the smallest action becomes precise, grounded, and purposeful. This is mind-body harmony, the inner command and the outer response merging as one. There is an old teaching shared among the elders: a restless mind makes a heavy body. During training in the early mornings, when the ground was cold and silence still clung to the air, this lesson became unmistakable. If the mind wandered, the stance weakened. If the breath broke, the movement lost its center. But when awareness settled into the body, into the soles of the feet, the spine, the breath, the fingertips, every motion felt connected, effortless, and alive. This harmony does not appear suddenly. It is cultivated through disciplined practice that sharpens the senses. through meditation that softens the unnecessary and strengthens the essential, through physical training that teaches endurance, structure, and precision. Over time, the mind no longer commands the body like a strict master. Instead, they move like companions walking the same path, listening to each other, supporting each other, completing each other. So when life narrows into those last 10 seconds, the body does not hesitate, and the mind does not tremble. Both are aligned, steady, and ready. Inner clarity becomes outer action, and in that unity, the moment transforms from pressure into power. There are days when the body feels heavy, when thoughts drift, and when the heart seeks comfort instead of challenge. In Shaolin teaching, these days are not obstacles. They are the true training ground. Mood rises and falls like weather. Discipline, however, is the mountain that does not move. There is a story often told in the quiet corners of the temple. A young student once complained that he could not train because he felt tired, unmotivated, and unfocused. The master listened, then handed him a cup of water. "Your mood," he said, "is like the water in this cup. Shake it, and the surface trembles. Leave it alone, and it becomes calm again. But whether it trembles or rests, the cup must still be carried." The lesson was simple. Your feelings may change, but your duty remains. When life brings a sense of 10 seconds left, waiting for motivation is not an option. The world does not pause for you to gather inspiration. Challenges do not schedule themselves around your emotional comfort. In moments of pressure, the mind must rise above its own fluctuations and choose action. This does not mean ignoring emotion. It means not being ruled by it. Discipline is the bridge between intention and reality. It carries you forward when mood cannot. It sharpens clarity in moments when fear or doubt would slow you down. In the Shaolin way, self-mastery is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, consistent, unshakable. It is the ability to lift your foot when it feels too heavy, to breathe when your thoughts are scattered, to act when every excuse tells you to wait. And when the countdown of life grows short, this discipline becomes your greatest ally. It allows you to choose the right action, not the easy one, even under pressure, even in the final seconds. There is a depth of silence that appears only when the mind finally stops chasing everything outside of itself. In the Shaolin tradition, this silence is the foundation of Chan, a state where thought becomes clear, the senses sharpen, and the heart settles into stillness. It is not the absence of life, but the presence of full awareness. In moments when time feels short, when the mind whispers, "This is it," the practice of presence becomes essential. Fear pulls attention into the future. Regret drags it into the past. Distraction scatters it in every direction. But Chen teaches another path. Remain here, exactly here, in the breath, in the body, in the single moment unfolding before you. The old masters call this no-mindedness, not a blank mind, but a free one. A mind unburdened by noise, worry, or unnecessary movement. When the mind is clear, perception becomes accurate. Reaction turns into wise response, and the last seconds of a crucial moment feel spacious instead of suffocating. There is a teaching shared during evening meditation in the monastery. A moment of pure presence is stronger than a lifetime of scattered thought. Those who trained long enough understood the truth behind those words. In sparring, a wandering thought meant losing balance. In daily tasks, an unfocused mind led to mistakes. In life, a distracted spirit missed opportunities placed directly before it. Presence is not a gift, it is a discipline. It grows from sitting in silence, from observing the breath, from returning again and again to the here and now. Over time, the mind learns to settle naturally, like water returning to a still pond. So when the final moments arrive, presence becomes your strength. Mindfulness guides the body with precision. Instead of reacting blindly, you act with clarity, calmness, and certainty, grounded in the truth of the moment, untouched by fear or regret. There is a current within every person, subtle and quiet, yet powerful enough to change the way we move through the world. In Shaolin teachings, this current is called Qi, the life force woven through breath, intention, and awareness. While the untrained often overlook it, Those who practice Qigong or Neigong learn that Qi is not something mystical to chase, but something natural to cultivate. In the early hours of training, when mist clung to the temple stones, students would stand motionless for long stretches of time. To an outsider, it looked like stillness, but inside, a different kind of movement was taking place. The breath deepened, the body softened, the mind sank into the lower abdomen, where qi gathers like a quiet reservoir. Over time, the energy began to flow smoothly, warming the limbs, sharpening the senses, and settling the heart. This cultivation shapes how a person responds under pressure. When life compresses into those 10 seconds, most people tighten their breath and scatter their energy. Their minds rush, their bodies lose coordination. But a person who has built and refined qi moves differently. The breath remains steady, anchoring the mind. The body stays rooted, grounded from the inside out. The heart remains calm, as if surrounded by a protective stillness. Qi becomes a stabilizing force, not only in physical movement, but in thought and emotion. It sharpens clarity. It strengthens patience. It transforms panic into presence. There is an old saying among practitioners, where the qi flows, the mind follows, where the mind rests, the qi gathers, the two support each other continuously. And in moments of crisis, this internal harmony creates a power far beyond physical strength. When time is short and decisions must be made with precision, the refined qi within you becomes an unshakable anchor, steadying your actions, guiding your judgment, and allowing you to move through pressure with calm certainty. There is a certain stillness that cannot be learned in comfort. It is forged in the quiet spaces where the mind is made to face itself. Shaolin meditation, rooted in the ancient practice of Buddhist dhyana, was created for this purpose, to strengthen the mind until calm becomes unshakable, even when the world around it trembles. In training, monks often sat in meditation long before sunrise. The courtyard was cold, the air sharp, and the silence deep. At first the mind resisted, thoughts surged, old fears rose like shadows. But with every breath, attention returned to the center, steady, grounded, aware. Over time, something remarkable began to happen. The storms within grew quieter, not because they disappeared, but because the mind no longer chased them. This is equanimity, a balanced mind that neither clings nor resists. A mind that sees clearly because it does not drown in its own reactions. When life compresses into those 10 seconds, equanimity becomes a rare form of power. Panic narrows vision. Fear distorts judgment. But a mind trained in stillness becomes spacious, even under threat. It observes without collapsing. It listens without trembling. It acts without confusion. There is a lesson whispered among senior practitioners. Calmness is not the absence of danger, it is the mastery of response. Meditation teaches this mastery through repetition, the breath returning again and again to its natural rhythm, the mind learning to rest on each moment like a bird settling onto a branch. No force, no struggle, just presence. As this practice deepens, the mind becomes a trustworthy ally. It does not abandon you when pressure rises. It does not scatter when crisis appears. Instead, it stands firm, offering clarity in moments when clarity matters most. In the final seconds of any challenge, equanimity becomes the guiding light, steady, unshaken, and fully awake. In the Shaolin tradition, strength has never been measured solely by skill or power. It is shaped by the heart that guides those abilities. This is the essence of Welde, the moral code that anchors every movement, every decision, every act of discipline. Without virtue, even the most refined technique becomes empty. Without compassion, mastery loses its meaning. There is an old teaching shared during evening study sessions. A warrior is known not by the force of his strike, but by the purity of his intention. Those who trained deeply understood this. Martial arts were never designed to dominate or intimidate. They were a responsibility, a way to protect, uplift, and bring balance where chaos threatened to spread. When life delivers a final call, when you feel those last 10 seconds tightening around a moment of choice, it is easy to turn inward and think only of your own survival, your own fear, your own urgency. But Bubade teaches something far more profound. Your decisions in those final moments ripple outward. They touch others. They shape the atmosphere around you. They reveal the true state of your character. In the monastery, there were times when students trained so intensely that tension rose between them. A master would quietly step in, not to scold their competitiveness, but to remind them, your skill is not for harming each other, it is for preserving harmony. Those words lingered long after training ended. Even when urgency presses against your chest, compassion must remain your anchor. Kindness steadies the mind. Integrity sharpens judgment. Moral clarity prevents regret from staining your path. Acting from virtue does not slow you down. It guides you in the right direction. It ensures that your strength serves a purpose beyond ego. In the final seconds of any challenge, the heart you choose to act from defines the legacy you leave behind. There is a subtle weight that most people carry without noticing, the weight of clinging to outcomes, to expectations, to fear, and even to the identities we have built for ourselves. Shaolin Buddhism teaches that this weight is optional. Non-attachment is not indifference, but freedom, the ability to act without being bound by what may or may not happen. During training, masters would often remind students, the tree that bends does not break. The mind that releases does not fall. I have seen young monks struggle with this lesson. They gripped achievements, status, and the approval of others as if their lives depended on them. Yet the moment they learned to release even a little, their movement became lighter, their focus sharper, their presence more immediate. The idea of 10 seconds left is a mirror for this teaching. It is not merely about urgency or crisis. It is about recognizing the need to let go of what no longer serves you, the fears that cloud judgment, the desires that distract from clarity, the ego that resists surrender. In those fleeting moments, clinging becomes costly, while release becomes powerful. True mastery emerges not from controlling every outcome, but from cultivating a mind that responds with wisdom. When the attachment to success, recognition, or certainty dissolves, action flows naturally. The body and mind move in harmony, guided by insight rather than impulse. Pressure does not tighten the grip, it opens awareness. The path of non-attachment trains the heart to see what is essential and discard what is unnecessary. It teaches that freedom is found in the space between holding on and letting go. In the final moments of any challenge, this freedom allows a person to act fully, decisively, and with a calm mind, unburdened, unafraid, and fully present to the moment. There's a rhythm to mastery that few truly understand, a rhythm that alternates between effort and stillness, between intensity and ease. In Shaolin practice, discipline alone is not enough. Strength without pause becomes brittle. Constant rest without training becomes weak. True mastery is found in the balance between the two. In the early days of training, students would rise before dawn, enduring long hours of stance work, forms, and meditation. Muscles ached, minds grew weary, yet the elders reminded them that this effort was only one side of the path. The other was equally important: mindful rest, a nap beneath a tree, a slow walk through the courtyard, or simply sitting in silence. These moments were not laziness, but essential recovery. They allowed the body to absorb training, the mind to integrate lessons, and the spirit to remain unshaken. When life compresses into moments of urgency, when it feels as if 10 seconds separate action from consequence, this balance becomes visible. The body trained in discipline responds with strength. The mind rested and nourished holds clarity. Without rest, pressure magnifies into panic. Without discipline, rest alone cannot carry you through. Ancient Shaolin wisdom teaches that resilience is cultivated quietly, over time. A warrior who balances effort and ease moves through challenge without breaking. The rhythm of training and rest mirrors the rhythm of life itself. Cycles of tension and release, of doing and being, of effort and surrender. Balance is not a compromise, it is an art. It ensures that when the final call arrives, the mind is sharp, the body steady, and the spirit unshaken. Discipline gives you the edge to act. Rest gives you the depth to endure. Together they create a foundation strong enough to meet any moment with calm power and unwavering presence. There is a pressure that comes when the clock feels unforgiving, when every second seems critical, and the instinct whispers, act fast or lose everything. Yet in Shaolin practice, urgency is never a signal to panic. It is a mirror, reflecting the depth of preparation and the clarity of vision that has been cultivated over years of disciplined practice. Students often learn this lesson through repeated cycles of training. In the courtyard, a single form may take months to perfect. Every movement, every breath, every adjustment builds not only skill but awareness. By the time a sudden challenge appears, a sparring match, a test of endurance, a moment demanding instant response, the body and mind respond with the confidence of long preparation. The urgency does not create the skill, it only reveals it. Even when the final moments arrive, when it feels like 10 seconds remain, the mind trained in long-term vision does not collapse into short-sighted reaction. It sees beyond immediate survival. It acts with purpose rooted in a larger understanding that every decision carries forward, every action ripples beyond the instant. The urgency becomes a catalyst, sharpening awareness, focusing intention, and calling forth the strength accumulated over time. There is an ancient saying among the monks: the river carves its path not in a single stroke, but through constant flow. Mastery is like that river. Each moment of training, each disciplined breath, each mindful movement contributes to the depth and resilience that allow one to respond wisely when time compresses. True self-mastery transforms urgency from fear into guidance. It teaches that the final seconds are not only about survival, they are a doorway to express the full breadth of preparation, wisdom, and presence. In this way, even fleeting time becomes an opportunity to act with clarity, purpose, and enduring vision. There is a quiet moment often overlooked when the world seems to pause and only the self remains in focus. It is in this stillness that the journey of true mastery begins, by turning the inner eye upon yourself. Observing your thoughts, your patterns, your reactions, and your habits is not an act of judgment, but of clarity. Awareness becomes the first step toward freedom. In the training halls of Shaolin, students are taught to watch themselves as closely as they watch their opponents. Every movement, every breath, every impulse is observed. The teacher rarely points out mistakes with harshness. Instead, the student learns to notice, to reflect, and to adjust. Self-responsibility is cultivated quietly, silently, with every disciplined repetition. When life compresses into a moment that feels like 10 seconds left, this practice becomes crucial. The final call is not a voice from outside. It is a summons from within. It asks, are you ready to take ownership? Are you willing to act with integrity, regardless of fear, distraction, or doubt? In those seconds, there is no one to blame, no circumstance to excuse hesitation. Only the self remains, responsible, accountable, alive. Every choice, every action, every drop of energy belongs to you. The mastery of life is inseparable from the mastery of the self. Habits refined over years of practice, focus nurtured in moments of silence, discipline strengthened through repeated effort, all converge to guide your response. The inner eye sees clearly that your energy, your attention, your resolve, they are not gifts from the world, nor burdens imposed by it. They are yours to cultivate, to guard, to wield. In the final moments of any challenge, the one who has turned the inner eye acts decisively, fully aware, fully responsible. Mastery begins and ends here, within the mind and heart of the self. True mastery is not reserved for moments of crisis. It is cultivated quietly, steadily, in the ordinary rhythms of daily life. The principles of focus, discipline, mindfulness, and moral clarity are not tools to be summoned only when time runs short. They are seeds planted and nurtured every day through consistent practice and attention. In the Shaolin tradition, monks rise before dawn not for spectacle, but for repetition. Forms, meditation, breathing exercises, and mindful movement. Each task, no matter how small or seemingly mundane, becomes an opportunity to refine the mind, strengthen the body, and steady the spirit. A simple act, performed with awareness, carries more weight than a dramatic gesture performed in haste. Daily life becomes the training ground for inner mastery. Meditation steadies the mind, teaching presence and calm. Qigong and physical practice align body and breath, cultivating energy that can be called upon in moments of pressure. Moral reflection nurtures integrity, ensuring that every choice, large or small, is guided by virtue. Discipline in routine work trains patience, endurance, and focus. Over time, these practices weave together, creating a foundation strong enough to support decisive action when the unexpected arises. The value of this integration is subtle but profound. When a final call comes, that moment when 10 seconds feel like a lifetime, the person who has trained daily does not scramble or falter. The mind is clear, the body is steady, the spirit is rooted. Action flows naturally, without hesitation, without panic. The path of self-mastery is not a single leap, but a lifetime of small deliberate steps. Every breath, every movement, every conscious choice becomes part of the preparation. In embedding these principles into daily life, mastery is no longer a distant goal. It becomes the very way you move through the world, ready for any challenge, any moment, fully awake and fully present. In this final call, the message is clear. Life is not about rushing blindly, but about responding with the highest part of yourself. True strength is born in stillness and focus, where mind and body move as one, guided by discipline and awareness. In moments of urgency, the practices of mindfulness, energy cultivation, and moral clarity give you steadiness. Equanimity, compassion, and non-attachment allow you to face challenges without fear, acting not from reaction, but from mastery. These teachings are not meant only for extraordinary moments. They are for everyday life, in your breath, your choices, your routines, and your interactions. By embedding focus, discipline, and awareness into each day, you prepare yourself to meet every challenge with calm, strength, and clarity. Each small act of presence and integrity compounds, shaping a life of true mastery and purpose. Take this wisdom with you. Let it guide your actions, steady your mind, and strengthen your spirit. When the moments that matter arrive, you will meet them fully awake, fully present, and fully yourself. If this message resonates, we invite you to join our journey of inner mastery and timeless wisdom. Like this video, subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire, and continue cultivating the strength, clarity, and calm that transform every day into an opportunity for growth.